So I have some clients when ladies, business leaders go to China, when they go to Saudi Arabia, when they go to the United Arab Emirates, sometimes even when they go to India or Sri Lanka, they ask me questions like, am I going to be respected? Am I going to be treated equally? Am I going to face some discrimination? Am I going to do this and that? And in many instances, they're extremely worried about their situation, so worried that very often, as a consultant, I receive a question, should I bring my subordinate instead of going myself because they are an older male, and that probably will be more efficient if a male representative from our company comes and does this project for us, etc., etc. Very often, the data and the misconceptions that you have are really outdated. So what you know about China is probably what you have read about China somehow, I don't know, 20, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's a fantastic book by a Swedish professor, Hans Rosling, called Factfulness. If you haven't come across that book, I highly recommend it. It's all about how our misconceptions about different cultures and societies are based on old data. So I recommend you to update your data anytime you go on to such an intercultural journey. And I'd like to say that in many different instances, the experience that the women get in these cultures, we can actually call them in many cases patriarchal cultures, and we wouldn't be wrong to say so. In many cases, their experience is actually quite positive. And we have to say that there are certain tips and certain recommendations that women are expected to follow in these cultures. But because they come as a foreigner, it is very often happening that they're perceived out of the local social norm. So it's my recommendation to all women who listen to this podcast, do not take it very easily and do not perceive that all over the world women's rights are treated in the same fashion as perhaps in your country, but do not over scare yourself about the potential opportunities for you in the other culture.